Hello, survivors. Thank you for taking the time to listen to the story. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to our channel. We appreciate it, and thank you in advance. Please leave the name of the city you're listening from in the comment section below. It helps us see our reach in the community. Let's start the story. I never thought my last mission would end like this. Perched 20 stories up in downtown Philadelphia, watching the city descend into madness through my rifle scope. The morning had started normally enough, another routine op providing overwatch, while my team secured sensitive material from a government building. We'd done it countless times before. The first sign something was wrong came when dispatch reported multiple riots breaking out across the city. Not unusual given the recent social tensions, but something felt different about this one. The streets filled too quickly, the panic spreading like wildfire. Echo 3. Maintain position. Captain Blackwood's voice crackled through my earpiece. Local PDs lost control of the situation. We're moving to secure the package. I watched through my scope as the 5-man team moved through the crowded streets below. The chaos was intensifying. Car alarms blaring. People running in all directions. Smoke rising from scattered fires. Above it all, emergency sirens wailed their constant warning. That's when our helicopter went down. The explosion lit up the morning sky, sending the chopper into a death spiral before it crashed into an empty lot 3 blocks away. No survivors. Our extraction plan went up in flames with it. "New orders," Blackwood commanded. "We're moving on foot. James, hold position. Keep us covered until we return." I watched them disappear into the crowd, heading toward the target building. That was 4 hours ago. Their comms went dark shortly after. Now I'm alone in this office building, trying to make sense of the nightmare unfolding below. The violence in the streets isn't normal riot behavior. I've seen enough conflicts to know the difference. People aren't just fighting. They're being attacked, bitten, and the ones who get bitten, they transform. This contagion, this plague, it turns them feral. They attack anyone nearby with savage intensity. The outbreak moves fast. I've watched it happen through my scope. Someone gets bitten, collapses with fever, then rises minutes later to attack others. The process repeats with horrifying efficiency. 2 hours ago, I heard screaming from the floor below. A woman and man were running from something, desperately trying to reach the stairwell. I spotted their pursuer through my scope, a security guard, but his face was covered in blood, his movements predatory. I took the shot clean through the head. The guard dropped, giving them time to reach my position. Thea and Rowan, both office workers who got trapped here when everything went bad. They're huddled in the corner now, still shaken. Thea's a paralegal, early 30s, maintaining a facade of composure that barely masks her terror. Rowan is younger, an IT guy who keeps checking his phone even though the networks are down. "What's happening out there?" Thea asks, her words tight with fear. I adjust my position near the window, keeping my rifle trained on the streets below. "Don't know for sure, but whatever it is, it's spreading fast. The fading daylight transforms the city below into something from a nightmare. Fires burn unchecked, casting an orange glow against the growing darkness. The streets are littered with abandoned cars and debris." Rowan paces nervously. "We need to get out of here. My family. I need to know if they're okay." "Not yet," I reply firmly. "Streets are too dangerous after dark. We stay put until morning or until help arrives." But even as I say it, I'm not sure help is coming. The military response has been scattered at best. I've seen a few helicopters pass overhead, but they're heading away from the city center. The distant sound of gunfire is becoming more sporadic. Not a good sign. I check my ammunition. 3 magazines for the rifle, 2 for my sidearm. Enough to hold off a small group, but not an army. The office floor we're on is defensible, with only 2 access points, the main stairwell and the emergency stairs. I've blocked both with desks and filing cabinets, but it won't hold forever if we're discovered. A crash echoes from somewhere below, followed by the sound of breaking glass. Thea recoils, choking back a cry. Rowan freezes mid-pace. "Get back," I whisper, moving to check the barricade, "and stay quiet." The sounds grow closer, heavy footsteps on the stairs, Labored breathing, the occasional crash of something being knocked over. Could be survivors, could be something worse. I position myself behind a desk, rifle aimed at the stairwell door. Thea and Rowan huddle behind me, holding their breath. The footsteps reach our floor, followed by scratching at the door. Then a voice, human, desperate. "Please, is anyone there? Let me in." I hesitate, finger on the trigger. In this new world, mercy carries a price. The city drowns in chaos around us as I weigh the next moments that will determine who lives and who dies. The voice behind the door belongs to a teacher named Reed. After careful verification that he wasn't bitten, we let him in. He's shaken but coherent, having escaped from a nearby school where things went bad quickly. Now he sits near Thea and Rowan, all three speaking in hushed tones while I maintain my watch. Through my scope, I witness humanity's worst instincts emerge. A group of men break into an electronics store, fighting over televisions and phones that will soon be worthless. Across the street, a family loads their SUV with supplies, but they're taking too long, arguing over what to bring. I want to warn them, tell them to hurry, but I can only watch as 3 infected emerge from an alley. The family doesn't notice until it's too late. Their screams echo across the empty streets. In the apartment building opposite us, a woman hangs white sheets from her windows. A call for help. I count 4 children with her, all young. She's doing everything right. Barricading her door, rationing water, keeping the kids away from windows. I make a mental note of her location. If help arrives, I'll make sure they know. But not everyone shows such wisdom. 2 teenagers on skateboards roll through the chaos, filming everything on their phones. They treat it like a game until an infected businessman in a torn suit charges from a doorway. I take the shot, dropping him before he reaches them. The boys flee, finally understanding the gravity of their situation. "There's a helicopter," Rowan calls out, pointing north. Through my scope, I spot the military chopper approaching. It's flying low, searchlights sweeping the streets. People emerge from buildings, waving desperately. The helicopter hovers near an office building several blocks away. But something's wrong. Too many people rush the roof, shoving each other in their panic. I watch in horror as 2 people fall in the chaos. The chopper pulls away, leaving them behind. Smart decision, however brutal. They couldn't have saved everyone, and trying would have risked losing the aircraft. A movement catches my eye. An elderly man helps a woman with a broken leg through the street. They move slowly, carefully. I keep my scope on them, watching for threats. When an infected appears, I take it down silently. The couple never knows how close they came to death. They make it to a pharmacy, disappearing inside. Sometimes the best help goes unnoticed. "I should have stayed at the school," Reed mutters behind me. Some of the kids were still there. "You'd be dead," I reply, not taking my eye from the scope. Sometimes survival means making impossible choices. A police car races down the street, siren blaring. Rookie mistake. The noise draws a dozen infected from the shadows. The car swerves, crashing into a bus stop. I count the seconds, willing the officer to stay inside, but he stumbles out, firing wildly. Each shot draws more infected. His service pistol clicks empty and I have to look away. The sun sits low on the horizon when I spot movement in an apartment below the woman with the white sheets. A man frantically packs a suitcase, his movements erratic. Through the scope, I notice blood on his sleeve, a bite mark. He knows what's coming but refuses to accept it. I watch him pace, argue with himself, and finally sit on his bed, pressing a pistol to his temple. The window shatters with the shot. One less infected to worry about. "What do you keep looking at?" Thea asks, moving closer to my position. "People making choices," I answer. "Good and bad ones." A scream draws my attention to the street. A woman runs from 2 infected, heading straight for a group of survivors barricaded in a convenience store. They have guns, and they're aiming at her. I flash my tactical light twice, an old military warning signal. The survivors pause, reassess. Instead of shooting blindly, they organize a rescue. 2 covering while 1 pulls her to safety. Small victories. The light fades, making observation harder. In an office building to our west, I spot battery-powered lanterns. Smart. The occupants stay away from windows, moving quietly. They'll probably make it through the night, but in a bar below them, someone's decided to drink away the apocalypse. The music grows louder, and I know it's only a matter of time. Those people, Rowan points to an apartment where a family eats dinner by candlelight, trying to maintain normalcy. They seem to be doing okay. They're adapting, I reply. That's what matters now. A series of explosions rock the financial district. The military's creating barriers, trying to contain the spread. Good strategy, but I've seen too many infected slip through already. It's too late for containment. The woman with the white sheets begins flashing a light, Morse code. I grab my notepad, decoding, "Children no water." I signal back with my tactical light. "Conserve. Help coming." A lie maybe, but hope matters now more than truth. Movement on the roof across the street catches my attention. A man in a business suit stands at the edge looking down. I've seen this before in war zones, the moment when fear overcomes reason. I flash my light again, trying to draw his attention, but he steps off before the beam reaches him. Another soul lost to panic rather than infection. "You can't save everyone," Reed says quietly, noticing my tension. "No," I agree, "but we can learn from them. Every choice we observe helps us survive." The darkness deepens, but I maintain my watch. Through night vision, I track survivors moving between buildings, marking which strategies work and which lead to disaster. A group using ropes to cross between buildings. Smart. A man trying to drive through a barricade. Dead within minutes. Each scene adds to our understanding of this new world. In the distance, the city burns. The military's withdrawal has left pockets of chaos unchecked, but here and there, I spot signs of resilience. Buildings fortified with intelligence rather than panic. Small groups working together, signals passed between windows in the dark. An infected priest staggers down the street, his collar stained with blood. The symbolism isn't lost on me. Faith matters less now than preparation and clear thinking. I watch him pass without taking the shot. No immediate threat, and the noise would only draw attention. "I need everyone to move away from the windows," I announce. The night's bringing out more of them, and any light could give away our position. As my companions retreat deeper into the office, I maintain my vigil. Each observation, each life or death decision I witness, adds to our collective knowledge of survival. Some lessons come at a terrible price, but they might mean the difference between life and death for us. Through my scope, I watch more infected stumble onto the streets below, drawn by distant sounds and movements. Their mindless wandering creates an ever-shifting maze of danger. In the growing darkness, their silhouettes merge with the shadows, making them harder to track. The night ahead will test every survival instinct we possess. A crash echoes from somewhere in the building below us. We all freeze, listening intently. The infected may be mindless, but in these close quarters, their sheer numbers make them lethal. One wrong move, one loud sound, could bring a horde right to our door. The building's emergency lights flicker, then die. In the sudden darkness, Rowan's phone screen casts an eerie blue glow across our faces. My night vision scope becomes our only reliable way to monitor the streets below. "We need supplies," Thea whispers. "Water especially. None of us planned to be here this long." She's right. Between the four of us, we have 2 bottles of water, a few protein bars, and whatever snacks people had in their desks. It won't last long. "There's a break room 2 floors down," Reed suggests. "Vending machines, water coolers, maybe even some supplies in the refrigerator if the power outage hasn't spoiled everything." I weigh our options. Moving through the building means making noise, potentially attracting attention. But staying here without supplies isn't viable either. A distant explosion illuminates the city for a brief moment. Through my scope, I spot more infected flooding the streets, drawn by the noise. Their behavior reminds me of something, but I can't quite place it. "They're like zombies," Rowan says suddenly, voicing what we've all been thinking but afraid to say. "Just like in the movies, the biting, the spreading infection, how they just keep coming." "Zombies," Reed repeats quietly. "At least it gives us a name for them." Something to understand. Understanding won't keep us alive, I reply, but he's right. Having a term for them somehow makes the situation more manageable. We need those supplies. Rowan, you said you work IT here. What do you know about the building's layout? Before he can answer, a crash echoes from somewhere below, followed by the sound of breaking glass. We all freeze, listening intently. That came from the floor below us. Thea mouths silently. I motion everyone to stay quiet and still. Years of training kick in as I move silently toward the stairwell. Through a gap in our barricade, I can just make out movement in the darkness below. Another crash, closer this time. Then a voice barely audible. "Hello, is anyone there?" I signal the others to stay back while I adjust my position for a better view. Through the gap, I spot someone moving cautiously through the office below. They're using a small flashlight, sweeping it back and forth across the room. The beam catches on family photos and personal items on desks. They're searching for something specific. "Check that desk by the window," the figure mutters to themselves. "Has to be here somewhere." I recognize the voice. "Hansen?" I call out quietly, remembering the name from the building directory. "Building maintenance?" The light freezes. "Who's up there?" "Military. We're secure on the floor above you. Are you alone?" "Yeah," Hansen replies, relief evident in his voice. "Been hiding in the maintenance room since it all started. Figured everyone else evacuated." I confer quickly with the others. Reed and Thea are hesitant, but Rowan vouches for Hansen. "He's helped me with IT setups before. Good guy." We clear space in the barricade to let Hansen through. He's a middle-aged man with graying hair and practical coveralls. More importantly, he has information we desperately need. "The whole building's running on emergency power," he explains once we've resealed the barrier. "Main grid went down an hour ago. Backup generators are failing one by one. We've got maybe 3 hours of emergency lights left in the stairwells, then nothing." "What about access to other floors?" I ask. "Most of the electronic locks defaulted to open when we lost main power, but some emergency doors are sealed tight." "No power means no override." "Those zombies," Rowan interjects, the term now firmly part of our vocabulary. "Can they get in?" Hansen's expression darkens. "Main entrance is secure, but the parking garage concerns me. 3 levels of cars, and those steel shutters won't hold if enough of them gather. Already saw a few wandering between the vehicles." We quickly plan a supply run. Hansen knows the building's layout intimately, which stairwells are secure, which floors might have food or water. He also confirms my suspicion about the break room 2 floors down. "There's more," he adds. "I've been monitoring the emergency radio. Military's planning something big. Kept hearing chatter about Protocol Omega and coordinates for this sector." A chill runs down my spine. I've heard those words before, in classified briefings. Protocol Omega is a last resort, the complete sanitization of an infected zone. The government must be desperate to even consider such measures. Destroying a major city center would devastate the economy, destroy billions in infrastructure. The infection must be worse than we thought. "How much time?" I ask. "Based on the radio chatter, maybe 6 hours." 6 hours until they level everything in a 5-mile radius. We need those supplies now. And we need an escape plan. I divide our group into teams. Thea and Reed will guard our floor while Rowan, Hansen, and I make supply runs. We'll start with the break room, then work our way down to maintenance where Hansen knows of some emergency supplies. The distant roar of fighter jets echo through the city. They're doing reconnaissance runs, preparing for what's coming. The sound sends chills down my spine. I've seen what those jets can do to a city. "Listen up," I announce, checking my weapon. "Whatever's coming, we need to be ready to move fast. This building won't be safe forever." Hansen nods grimly. "There's an old civil defense shelter under the federal building 3 blocks from here. Cold War era, but built to withstand anything. If we can reach it." "First things first," I reply. "Let's get those supplies, and everyone stay alert. Those zombies might be mindless, but in the dark, numbers are all they need." We move toward the stairwell, our flashlights creating small islands of visibility in the darkness. Somewhere below, something crashes, and distant moans echo up the stairwell. The night is far from over. The stairwell descends into darkness, our flashlight beams cutting thin paths through the black. Hansen leads the way, his intimate knowledge of the building guiding us forward. Rowan follows, carrying an empty duffel bag we found in the office. I take rear guard, my rifle ready. The break room door hangs open, papers scattered across the floor. Hansen raises his hand, signaling us to stop. Inside, a ceiling tile crashes down, making us jump. The silence that follows feels heavier than the darkness surrounding us. "Check the vending machines," I whisper. "But be quiet about it." Hansen produces a ring of maintenance keys, finding one that opens the vending machines panel. We quickly empty it of snacks and bottles, working in near silence. The refrigerator yields little, mostly spoiled food, but we salvage some sealed drinks and packaged meals. A sound echoes up from the parking garage below, metal scraping against concrete. Through the break room's windows, I can see down into the garage's open center. Dozens of infected wander between the parked cars, drawn by some noise we can't hear. More concerning are the ones gathering near the garage entrance, pressing against the steel shutters. "Those shutters won't hold much longer," Hansen mutters, following my gaze. "The mechanism's old, wasn't designed for this kind of stress." "How many cars down there?" I ask. 3 levels, maybe 60 vehicles per level." He pauses. "Most still have fuel in them." The implications sink in. If those shutters fail, we'll have a small army of zombies entering the building. But those cars, they might be our answer to several problems. A vibration runs through the building, followed by a distant boom. The fighter jets are getting closer, their patterns more frequent. They're mapping the strike zone. "We need more supplies," Rowan says, zipping up the full duffel bag. "This won't last 6 people very long." "Maintenance office," Hansen suggests. "Floor below the garage. We keep emergency supplies there, first aid kits, tools, maybe even some flares." I check my watch. 4 hours until Protocol Omega. Okay, but we move fast. Those shutters are our timer now. We exit the break room, heading deeper into the building's core. The maintenance office requires going through the parking garage's security room, a prospect none of us relish. As we descend, the moans from the infected grow louder. The security room's windows overlook the garage's entrance. The shutters vibrate with each impact as more zombies press against them. Inside the garage, the scene is getting worse. The gathered zombies have doubled in number, creating a maze of shifting bodies between the parked vehicles. "Look," Rowan points to the security monitors. Most are dark, but one still functions on backup power. It shows the garage's outer entrance where more infected stumble in from the street. They're being drawn to something. Hansen checks the control panel. The shutter mechanism, it's making a high-pitched whine. Probably can't hear it over everything else, but they can. A metallic groan echoes through the garage. One corner of the inner shutter has begun to bend. "Grab what we need and get out," I order. 5 minutes max. The maintenance office is a treasure trove. Emergency kits, tools, even some bottles of water stored for repair jobs. We quickly fill our bags, working by flashlight beam. Every crash and moan from above sets our nerves on edge. Then the power dies completely. The security monitor goes dark, plunging us into absolute darkness broken only by our lights. The high-pitched whine stops. For a moment, silence. Then a new sound. Metal tearing. "Move!" I hiss. We run for the stairwell, no longer worried about noise. Behind us, the garage erupts with the sound of failing metal and excited moans. The shutter has given way. We reach the stairs just as the first zombies stumble into the corridor. I take aim with my rifle but hold my fire. The sound would only draw more. Instead, we sprint upward, our footsteps echoing off concrete walls. 2 floors up, we pause to catch our breath. The stairwell amplifies the sounds below. Dozens, maybe hundreds of feet shuffling across concrete, moving steadily upward. "They'll spread through the whole building now," Hansen says between breaths. I set my jaw, weighing our options. "How far to the federal building?" 3 blocks, but the street level is crawling with infected," Rowan finishes. "We'd never make it." An idea forms as I recall the garage's layout. "Those cars you mentioned, any of them bigger? Something that could push through a crowd?" Hansen straightens, understanding dawning on his face. Construction company on the second level. They've got a few heavy-duty trucks, but with all those infected down there. We need a distraction, I say. Something to draw them away from the vehicles long enough to reach one. Rowan pulls something from his bag, a handful of emergency flares he grabbed from the maintenance office. These bright enough? I allow myself a small smile. Get those supplies up to the others, then we plan our exit strategy. When those jets return, we need to be long gone. The building groans around us, a chorus of shuffling feet and hungry moans rising from below. We've got limited time, limited resources, and an army of zombies between us and survival. But for the first time since this started, we have a plan. The construction company's truck stands like a fortress among smaller vehicles. A Ford F-350 with reinforced bumpers and a lift kit. Perfect for what we need if we can reach it. The only problem, 30 yards of zombie-filled parking garage between us and our escape route. A distant explosion rocks the building. Through my scope, I spot fires spreading through the business district. The military strike is starting at the city's edges, working its way inward. Our window of opportunity shrinks with each passing minute. Remember, I whisper to the group, once those flares ignite, we move fast and quiet. No one stops. No one looks back. The first flare ignites with a harsh crack and hiss. Reed throws it far into the garage's third level, where it lands in a corner, filling the space with crimson light. The infected react immediately, shambling toward the source of light and sound. A second flare follows, then a third, creating a trail of light leading away from our position. Now, I command, and we move. Our footsteps echo softly against concrete as we weave between abandoned vehicles. Most zombies seem distracted by the flares, but a few still wander through our path. We dodge the first one, pressing ourselves against a minivan as it passes. The second blocks our way entirely. I raise my rifle, but Hansen stops me. The sound would draw too much attention. Instead, he gestures toward a narrow gap between a wall and a sedan. We slip through one by one, the zombies rasping breath just feet away. 20 yards to the truck. 15. 10. A scream pierces the air, sharp, terrified, human. Near the garage entrance, a man runs from several zombies, his panicked flight drawing more attention. He spots us and changes direction, heading straight for our position. No, I hiss, but it's too late. The zombies follow his path, their hollow vocalizations growing excited as they spot our group. Our carefully planned route collapses as dozens of bodies surge toward us. Hansen rushes ahead with the keys while the rest of us form a defensive circle. The engine sputters, then catches. Thea and Reed climb into the truck bed as Rowan helps me hold the infected back. I fire 3 quick shots, dropping the nearest threats. The rifle's report echoes through the garage, drawing even more attention. The stranger reaches us just as Reed extends his hand to help him up. But an zombies grabs the stranger's leg, pulling him back. Reed leans too far, trying to save him. In an instant, both men disappear under a wave of zombies, their screams cutting through the chaos. "Reed!" Thea screams, trying to climb back out. I grab her arm, pulling her inside as we peel away from the scene. The truck lurches forward, its heavy bumper shoving aside zombies and smaller vehicles alike. We crash through the garage's entrance onto a street filled with chaos and fire. Hansen navigates through abandoned cars while infected pour from every direction, drawn by the engine's noise. In the distance, fighter jets scream overhead and new explosions light up the sky. The federal building rises before us, but a mass of zombies blocks our path. Hundreds of bodies pressed together. There's no way through. "There," Rowan points to an alley. "We can cut around." The world explodes. A nearby strike sends our truck spinning. Metal screams against concrete as we flip once, twice. I'm thrown against the door, my vision blurring. When it clears, I see Rowan slumped beside me, blood running from a head wound. He doesn't move. Hansen drags me out through the shattered windshield. Thea's already out, limping but alive. The truck lies on its side, smoke pouring from the engine. Zombies approach from all directions. "The building!" Hansen shouts over the chaos. "We're close enough to run for it!" We half carry each other through the gauntlet of zombies, my rifle clearing a path when they get too close. The federal building's entrance feels miles away, though it's only 100 yards. Each step brings more pain, more zombies, more chaos. Thea stumbles, crying out, and Zombie pulls her down before I can react. Hansen turns back to help, but I grab his arm. Her screams follow us up the building steps as we seal the entrance behind us. The civil defense shelter entrance lies at the end of a long hallway, a heavy steel door marked with faded fallout symbols. It takes our remaining strength to heave it open. Inside, the shelter is bare except for some old folding chairs and empty display cases. No supplies, no comfort, just thick walls between us and the end of the world. As the door seals shut, I think about the others. Reed, who died trying to save a stranger. Rowan, who never woke up. Thea, whose sacrifice bought us these final few seconds. I think about the woman with the white sheets in her windows, the family trying to maintain normalcy by candlelight, all the survivors I watched through my scope. I hope some of them found shelter, found their own way to survive this nightmare. The shelter's walls tremble as Protocol Omega begins. Philadelphia burns above us, taking its zombies with it. In the dim emergency lighting, Hansen and I sit in silence, 2 survivors out of millions. We made it. But as I close my eyes, all I can see are the faces of those who didn't.